Well, hello and good afternoon. My name is Zoe Baraka. It is so wonderful to see you again. As promised, the last, I believe, Tuesday, I was on to my younger self. I had promised that we were going to have a guest storyteller on the 19th, which is not one of the days that we normally would tell a story, but storytelling is one of those things you just go with the flow. So we chose the 19th, and as promised, I have my guest storyteller here with me in the studio, and we are going to jump right into it and tell the story. Before I do, I'm going to give you a little introduction of this young man who I messaged him one time, and just like that, he was just very, very nice and just, I believe, welcomed me into his space. And suddenly we are friends. And I realized that we are made from the same cloth because he tells a good story. This young man's name is Chris Worla. He is a Ghanaian young man, a very, very highly talented young man. When I asked him for a bio, he he gave me one of the best bios I have ever read in my entire life. He says that Chris is a young man in pursuit of an encounter with God. That is one. He is very passionate about raising a critical mass of young people who will reflect Jesus in any space they find themselves, no matter what the cost may be. So without further ado, Chris is poised to tell us a myriad of stories, a festival of stories about growing up in Ghana and Africa for that matter, and how it affected his life in one way or another, and how it has affected the way he looks at himself now as a young man. So I'm going to invite Chris into our space now. Hello.
Hello, Zoe. How are you?
I am doing very, very well, sir. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I am very honored to be given this huge space to operate in. And I'm going
Yes.
to ask your viewers to excuse my voice. I've been
Mhm.
battling with cough for some time now. So if
Okay.
occasionally I cough into their ears, my sincere apologies.
They will be okay. All of us will be
All
perfectly fine.
all right. Thank you so very much. Now I'm panicking. I don't know
No,
if I'll
you
be able
are
to.
perfect.
Okay. So I'll share bits and pieces of my life growing up in various parts of Ghana.
Okay.
I'll start from my high school in Keta Secondary School. So I happen to be part of the first batch of the new system of senior high school education in Ghana. It
Really?
used to be Senior Secondary School, SSS. This
Yes.
was the time the government decided to drop the number of years for pre-tertiary education from, I think, 15, was it 15 years to 12? Well, let me do the calculation. 6 years primary, 4 years middle school, that made it 10 years.
Mhm.
5 years O level, that made it 15 years, plus 2 years A level, that made it 17 years before you
Wow.
entered university.
Yes.
But in 1991, the government decided they were going to cut down on the number of years for pre-tertiary education. So we're going to do 6 years primary, 3 years junior high school, that made it 9 years, and another 3 years senior high school, and then we entered secondary school, university.
Yeah.
So it was now to 6-3-3 structure. We
Mhm.
had 12 years, then we're up for high school, university.
Right.
And what happened was that because it was the first time, both the teachers and the students were not very clear in their minds what was going to happen.
Oh
So it
no.
was pretty much an experiment. And fortunately, my batch happened to be the experimental guinea pigs. Were the ones that were used to run the experiments to see how it was going to work. And I recall at the time the minister for education was Harry Sawyer. So we're called Harry Sawyer's kids or Harry Sawyer's guinea pigs. Others called us Harry Sawyer graduates. So we wrote the first batch of the SSC exams, and the results were terrible. The results were bad. I tell you what, in Keta Secondary School, we had our rivals at the time were Keta Business School.
Right.
So when I was in Kita School, and I had friends in Kitabu School. Now, when the results came, people fared so poorly in English language. In Kita School, it was bad, but in Kitabu School, it was worse.
Wow.
So the story that did the round at the time was that students students from Kitabu School let me say it this way. So when the results came, we were allowed to go to the schools to go pick the results from the secretariat of the schools. And those days, they didn't have these nice printers, computer, and so on to type and print for you. So they type with the typewriting machine. So the keys, how they were typing them, ka. Now, many of us had E in English.
Wow.
Just a few had better than E. Now, for Kitabu School, the story was so bad that they had said students who had an E in English were so many that the key E on the typewriter that was used to type the results for them had literally vanished. So the students who went late to pick their results, they had to type F for them instead of E. it was that bad. Okay, so that happened, and they were allowed back to school. The government at the time said we could come back and do remedial school and rewrite the exams at the cost of the state. So all our parents needed to do at the time was to get us an off-campus accommodation and find us food as well. Even that was a tough one, really tough. But somehow they managed, and we got back to school to do the remedial classes for 1 year and to write the exams. Now, this also happened to me and my two friends, Godwin and Emmanuel. The very first few months, we had dissipated everything we brought from home.
Wow. You mean your
food and money? Yeah, we had finished everything before long. And we had to find a way of surviving till help came from home or from wherever.
Right.
So there was this vegetable garden right across the street from Kita School. If any of our viewers is conversant with what I'm talking about, just across the school, there was this vegetable garden. The gardener grew mainly okra and garden eggs. So what we did was, in the night when we went to campus to study, we sneaked into that garden to harvest, in fact, to steal. God forbid.
Yeah, I was about to say, were you harvesting or stealing?
We were harvesting what we did not sow. So we went to harvest okra and garden eggs, and that was how we were surviving. Then we also discovered an old woman who sold fried fish behind our school. So on the days when we had some money, we went to her house to buy fried fish. And with the vegetables from the garden, we managed to get something to eat for the night. That was how we were surviving.
Wow.
There was this night we went into the garden and we found nothing. Apparently, the man had done some harvesting earlier in the day, so there was nothing in the garden. Well, how were we going to survive for the night and the following day? We decided we'll go to the old lady's place to get some fried fish. We had some money on us. We got there. It was late. It was well after midnight. The gate was locked, but the hunger that was torturing us at the time was enough to keep us at the gate, knocking until the gate was opened.
Wow.
The old lady came, she saw us, and unfortunately said she had no fish. How were the
Oh
young men
my
going to
good.
survive the rest of the
Yes.
night? Well, we turned around to go, and somehow the old lady looked at us and said, "Wait, don't go." We waited. She went into her house, came out with a small pot of some leftover food,
Wow.
gave us the entire pot. We opened it. It turned out it was some small leftover tilapia soup she had prepared for her family.
Mhm.
She gave it to us with the pot and said, "Go and prepare something and eat." Zoe, that was how we survived another night.
Wow.
Now, sometimes it got so bad we thought we could not make it,
Mhm.
but somehow
You
some
made it.
intervention came through.
Yes.
And that reminds me of a text in the Bible, Jeremiah chapter 52, verse 34,
Right. Hmm.
which says, "And as for his provisions, there was a regular ration
Hmm.
given him by the king of Babylon, a portion for each day until the day of his death,
Yes.
all the days of his life."
Wow.
Somehow, there was always some provision to take us through till the end of the day or through the night till another day. Now,
Wow.
from this story, I just want us to understand something. 2020 has been the worst year for
Ever.
many of us.
Yes.
I tell you what, for some people, they have barely scraped through the last 11 months.
Mm.
For some of us, we have gone to work with barely enough resource just to take us from home to work. In the office, some people have had to, as it were, parasite on their friends who probably brought some food from home.
Yes.
So that was how they survived. For some people, they have gone into their closets and have cried, not
Mm.
knowing where the next meal will come from.
Mm.
For some young parents whose kids are home now, preparing to go to school in January, we are thinking, where is money going to come from? Because some people have lost their jobs.
Yes.
Some have lost their means of livelihood.
Mhm.
Businesses are not doing well. For some of us, you are stuck in traffic and you look at your fuel gauge and you are just shaking your head inside your head
Yes.
because if the fuel finishes, the car is going to stop in the middle of the road and you don't know where money is going to come from to
Yes.
buy some more fuel.
Mm.
Now, but this is it. It is tough. We agree. But in all of this, we are going to survive,
Yes.
just as we have survived. Just as my friends Emmanuel and Godwin and I have survived our days in high school.
Yes.
God just has a way of coming through for us when we think we have come to our wits' end.
Mhm.
It may not always be smooth, but hear what? Our Papa no be Dangote, but we surely, things surely will be okay.
Yes.
If you know that song, "Cause my Papa no be Dangote, or Adeneke, but we go dey okay." Oh. So that is all I
I've
want to
actually
tell our
never heard
viewers.
it, but wow.
Yeah. Dangote is apparently Africa's richest man.
Yes.
At the time we started moving towards the border.
Mhm.
So we are able to witness the exercise.
Mhm.
As soon as the flag went down, as soon as the flag went down, the border between Ghana and Togo was closed. There was no movement allowed. Now, all the while we were hearing the regimental sergeant major say things that were clear to us. One of the things we heard was what I said earlier: "Please, the arms." Now, so you actually hear him say something like, "National salute, please, the arms." Well, Zoe, I grew up, went to university, joined the University Hall Cadet, Katanga Cadet. It was only then that I understood what the man was saying way back. The man was actually saying, National Salute, present arms. Present arms. Well, I heard please the arms, and I'm sure others said the same. So at that command, the soldiers in unison lifted their AK-47 assault rifles, mid-height, slapped the buttocks of the arm, the buttstock of the rifle, and held it in a way. I mean, it was a bit of intricate movement and so on, and then eventually, with the command, the flag was lowered with a trumpet, accompanied by a trumpet, and then the border was closed.
Yes.
Now, the lesson I learned from that is this. One of these fine days, the borders will be closed. We'll be called to present our arms.
Wow.
The presentation of arms, the closing of borders, this happen every single day of our lives. The Christians refer to it as rapture. Rapture may not necessarily be when Jesus comes. Your rapture happens when you breathe your last. Question is, would you be ready when the command goes? Praise the arms.
That is such a wonderful memory. It's so amazing how you can have the same memory and not take. You took such a powerful message out of it, and I just took enjoyment because, believe it or not, my dad actually lived in Aflao for a very long time.
Oh, wow!
Yes, and we visited many times, and I would always watch, you know, but I just never. I didn't take such a powerful message that you took from it. That's so amazing. But yeah, we should all remember we're definitely going to pre-say one day.
Woo!
Just,
yes, we should all be ready.
I know. Carol says our Papa always provides when we think we have reached our end. Wow, wow, God is our provider for sure. Carol is referring to the very first story. Kofi Che, who we both know in common.
Yes. Let me say that is my mentor. Kofi Che is my mentor. He's a big man. I learn a lot from that gentleman.
You're his mentor.
Yeah.
Kofi Che says, I am so glad I watched this, really motivated. We will all be okay because God is our Father. And I do believe that definitely Kofi Che is being comforted even at this time, just hearing this message. And yeah, and again, everyone can just reach out to us and tell us anything you want to tell us concerning these two stories so far. I'm waiting for the most exciting story of all.
Okay. So how long before we are done?
Well, it's a Saturday, so you know, we can kick it for a while.
Okay, let's see how much I still remember. So I talked to you about Worla and the 12 disciples.
Yes.
So one of my childhood ambitions was to join the Ghana Armed Forces. That never happened. And guess what? By the time I was in class 6, my mind was made up that I wanted to be an army man. And my reason was simple. I wanted to stage a coup d'etat.
Okay.
Yes. I had no understanding what it meant, but that is what I wanted to do. And guess what? I was so clear in my mind when I wanted to stage that coup.
Wow.
I said I was going to be in the army for 10 years. In my 10th year, I staged a coup and I leave. That was a dream I had. That was what I wanted to do. I don't know what influenced it.
Maybe the pre-say arms person influenced you.
Probably the pre-day arms was part of the... that did not happen. Thanks be to God. Life happened, things changed, and that ambition did not see the light of day.
Wow.
Now, when I became an adult, I still fantasized about it. But this time, I wanted to live that life or that dream through the lives of my children.
Wow.
And I had fantasized about having 11 or 12 sons. I wanted to have 12 sons, and the idea was to get all of them to join the army. All 12 men will join the army. And when I retire, I'll go live in a small village and pursue my passion, teaching. I love to teach. Teaching perhaps is the only thing that gives me the best satisfaction ever. Any other thing I do for money. I teach for the love and the joy of it. So I would go into a small village where I'll retire. I'll be teaching in a primary school. Specifically, I'll be teaching a class 2, a primary 2 class. That is what I want to do. And then on the weekend, this is what I will do. I will dress in what in Ghana we refer to as political suit.
Uh-oh. It looks like we're
Hello?
having... Yes, we got you back.
A bit of a challenge.
Yes.
All right, thank you. I'm back. So I'll dress in my political suit, with a blue pen and a red pen in my breast pocket, and a small notebook in my back pocket. Now, in Ewe, my language, we call soldiers or army people Badagba. So if you are a father of a soldier or soldiers, you are Badagbao Fofo, father of soldiers.
Okay. Father of a soldier.
So in the village, I'll be yes. In the village, everybody will be referring to me as Badagbao Fofo, father of soldiers. And what would I be doing with my red pen and my notebook? I'll be taking notes of all the people in the community who are misbehaving, people who are doing wrong things. I'll be writing their names down. And then I'll be looking forward to the day when my sons will come and visit. And I'll bring out the notebook and show them who and who misbehaved, so they can deal with them. That has been the fantasy.
Wow.
But you see, we have been called into another business, a kingdom business.
Yes.
And now we have been entrusted with the task of saving lives, particularly the lives of young people. That is why we cannot be going about writing names of people hoping that our sons will come and punish them. But here is the catch. In 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14, Bible says, "But thank God, He has made us His captives and continues to lead us along in Christ's triumphal procession. Now,
yes,
He uses us to spread the knowledge of Christ everywhere, like a sweet perfume." So that is what the change has been. So I ask of all our viewers, what is holding you back? We have all had all kinds of fantastic dreams, ambitions growing up. We may succeed in doing all of those, but there's one key thing that we cannot run away from: the call to duty, the call to save a perishing soul and fix them for the skies.
Wow. I am so stumped right now. So, like Kofiche would say, it's really motivated, because for some reason you are able to just take all of your childhood memories and turn them into amazing sermons. And I just, it's like, oh yeah, I remember that happened, and, kind of move on from it. But wow, you have definitely lived up to that bio. You said it is your passion to just follow God and to also motivate young people to follow God. And look at all these amazing stories you have shared. Thank you so very much. Guys, it's just so if you just learned something from this, any of the stories that Worla just shared, the second one, believe it or not, is actually my very favorite one, because sometimes you walk around in life mishearing things. And then one fine day, God just corrects it and you have clarity of vision, which I believe is also one of the lessons that you probably took from it when you got into the university and said, whoa.
Exactly. 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 I
So,
mean, we have all struggled with all kinds of things. I know a lot of young people like myself have had challenges with what exactly we want to do with our lives.
yes.
Have we heard? Have we not heard? Have we
Mm,
seen? Have we not seen?
mm,
Where do we go?
mm,
At some point, all the all the things you've been through, all the experiences will
mm.
indicate something. I
Yes.
mean, when I started this, uh, I don't want to call it ministry. I
It
think that
is
is
a
too big.
ministry,
Well, so when I started this
ministry of
ministry,
storytelling and fantastic writing.
I thank you. I keep wondering how I'm able to recall all of these things, sometimes with the finesse of details.
Mm,
This most of these things have happened 30, or some of them even 40 years ago.
mm,
But the fact I'm able to recall them, the minutest details, names of people and places, can only come to one thing. God allowed me to go through all of these things for such a time as
that's
this.
this. Yes.
I'll tell you another story about ice block. The French call it glaçon.
Mm-hmm,
Ice block, glaçon, and the veil.
mm-hmm.
So in the household where I grew up in Aflau, where we did not even have electricity to begin with,
Right.
so nobody had a freezer. The we lived just across the street from Lome.
Mm-hmm,
At the time, there was no barrier, there was no barricade. There was a main border, but along the stretch, there was nothing. So you could actually walk from Aflau and cross into Lome. We were only
mm-hmm.
separated by a street.
Yes.
And that was where we bought ice block, glaçon. So, I mean, those days, ice blocks were a luxury. So we bought them from families across the street. So typically, when dinner was ready, we were sent, we were given coins, CFA coins, to go and buy the ice blocks. Now, there was something very annoying in that whole errand. The children in the houses where we bought the glaçon from, those kids were very annoying, I tell you. They behaved like they owned the highest shares on that on New York streets, on the streets of New York, by merely selling ice blocks.
Mm-hmm,
Look, sometimes you go in there and they take their sweet time to do whatever they are doing
mm-hmm.
before they come to attend to you. But well, we were like beggars who had no
Yes.
choice, so we waited until they were ready to sell anything to us. In fact, they could decide there was no ice block to sell to you. If they looked at you and they didn't like you, they could even decide there was no ice block to sell to you. And when you leave, they can sell it to somebody else.
Wow.
Well, we thank God for how far we have come today. Today, I have freezers in my house. I can make my own ice blocks if I want to.
Yes.
The good thing is that when we do not die in the experiences we have been, the challenges we have been, there is a reason God has kept us alive.
Mm-hmm,
Matthew chapter 27, verse 50 to
mm-hmm.
51, it says, "And Jesus cried out again with a loud voice and yielded up his spirit. And behold, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from the top to bottom, and the earth shook, and the rocks were split. When Jesus gave up the ghost on the cross, the last thing he said was, "It is finished." That settled all and gave us the unlimited access to the throne room of grace.
Mm.
By this, we are empowered to come to the throne room of grace and be saved. Today, we do not have any excuse. We cannot let anything or anyone for that matter hold us ransom again, like those boys did to us because they were selling glaçons to us.
Yes.
Yeah. So now, no matter what it is, however red our sins are, Bible says, "Come, let's reason together." I'm a lover of reggae music. There's this piece of reggae music that says, "Come, come, 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 let us reason. Come, let us reason, reason about this condition." It goes on and on and on and says, no matter how red, even if your sins are as red as scarlet, come, let's reason together. God says he will turn them as white as snow. Let no one hold you to ransom anymore.
Wow. I am in awe of, and I think this caps it all. You have just literally done an altar call and said that you need to come to God, because at this point in time, especially in this day and age where we have COVID, hanging around our necks, you have no cause to think that there is no higher power than what you see with your eyes right now. And may God help all those glaçon boys out in Lome. For those of you who don't know, Lome is the capital, I believe, of Togo. And Togo is actually a different country, just in case you needed to know the difference. It just shared a border with Ghana, and on the Volta side of Ghana. And I actually remember there used to be just a barbed wire that divided the two countries for a while. And then they started building things around it, So I just wanted to set up the stage. Kendi, good afternoon. It is so good to see you. And for everyone that was on here that I couldn't see, or if you just were trying to just enjoy the stories and so didn't make yourself known, it is so good to see you. I appreciate your time and your investment in the storytelling project. Worla, thank you so very much. I know you're definitely going to be a huge fan favorite, and I definitely am asking you back for the new year. So this is it. Me asking you again to come back another time. And if you have any last words to share. Ooh, did we lose Worla?
No, I'm back here. You lost me briefly, but I'm back here.
Okay, yes, I think I did. Yes, but welcome back.
Yes. So thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure being on this platform.
Yes.
I leave one last story with everyone as we go back to our various places.
Yes.
In high school, we had this young man who was our long distance runner. His name was Elolo. Elolo was super good, super good.
Wow.
When the races began, like the 1,500 meter race, the 800 meter race, and the marathon race, he could start from the back, and a lot of people would race way ahead. By the time they had done the first, second, third, and fourth lapses, he would have overtaken everyone who had gone ahead of him. And he would run so fast, he would go, finish, and come round and overtake people who were ahead of him. He could go around them like twice before the race will eventually end. Which means that when he finished the race, he could finish the race, he would be resting, and people would have like 2-3 more lapses to go.
Wow.
That was how very good he was. Now, each time he got onto the track, he had this nickname we all shouted, "Dugo Dume, Dugo Dume, come out of them, come out of them, come out of them." And then he's charged and he begins to fire, and the next thing he's overtaking everybody. The message I want to leave here with all of us is the pursuit of God, the pursuit of the presence of God in our lives is not a series of sprints. We need to run the full haul. You don't start today, try to do something to impress people today, the next day you are back on your feet. No, you have to run and keep running. Some of us say we pray and we are tired, we don't want to pray again. Please, you don't stop praying when you are tired. When you pray today, nothing happens. You pray tomorrow, nothing happens. The third day, nothing happens. Please pray again the fourth day.
Yes.
The world is such a tough place. And life we need to understand is spiritual. I used to rave and rant a lot about a lot of things happening around us. I started blogging officially in 2009. And many of the things I wrote about in 2009 are still happening today. The things I got angry about in 2010 are still happening today. It looks as if I'm going to be perpetually angry at the system. I recall when I was leaving university, my dad preached to my graduating class in my church ministry. I'm a pastor's son. Among the many things he said to us, young people, the world you are going to outside of the university is a very slippery place. If you are going to be able to stand, you must be on your knees always. To stand, you must kneel.
Wow.
So I realized late in life that I have been fighting the system the wrong way. I've been using the wrong mechanisms, the wrong steps to fight the system. It is time to turn around and try to grow that critical mass of young people who want to reflect Jesus Christ no matter what, at whatever cost, wherever they find themselves. If we get this right, we will not be crying about the failures of the system anymore. We will not be raving and ranting about the challenges of the system anymore. Thank you very much. God bless everyone. And I'll be glad to be back here again if you allow me, Zoe.
Definitely, definitely. Look, that's one thing Kendi just said, and I was just thinking about that. To stand, you must knee, meaning you must be on your knees to be able to stand. That is such a powerful message. Actually, this particular story, the last one, I also was thinking that there's a lot of young people who are also looking at other people's lives and saying, look how far that person has gone. Look how far that person has gone. And I am not even, I haven't scratched the surface of where I thought I should have been yet. Just like that long distance runner, when God is done with you, you would have run the lap even before those that you thought were gone way too far ahead of you would have been able to do 3 or 4 more laps around you, meaning that God's time is always the best. And that's another lesson I just took from that last story that you just shared. And on that note, this has been To My Younger Self. I want to say a big thank you again to Chris Worla. Thank you so much. Wonderful, amazing storyteller. I think you're actually the one storyteller who has had Bible verses and preaching sermons all together with wonderful nostalgic stories. This is amazing. Thank you. And I feel like you're kind of redirecting me a bit. So you raised the bar, and we're going to see how that goes. Listen, just a little house. We're just gonna tidy up a bit in the house. Next Tuesday, because we just had this session, we're not going to have another To My Younger Self. But on the 29th, we had another amazing storyteller. He's coming at you with the filmmaker point of view. So you're gonna see a lot of filmmaking analogies and some Bible verses too. You never know. So yeah. And once again, my name is Zoe Baraka. This has been To My Younger Self. We're coming to you live from the Dear Daughter platform, and we will see you on the 29th. You all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you.